Good evening and welcome to the Evening News for Tuesday, March 17, 2015. I'm Petali Santos. Thank you for joining us. In your headlines this evening, mother of two found dead in bushes at Charity. Granger claims Guyana is a nation of jaguars. Granger admits APNU AFC yet to merge policies. Ministers' salaries are in keeping with Jagan's policies, says Rohi. And Conran gets another 18 months sentence. And a Pomona woman's condition worsens after third-degree burns. And now for the news in detail. A mother of two from Charity Housing Scheme in Region 2 Pomeroon, Supernam was on Tuesday morning discovered dead in a clump of bushes near the six-star hotel and bar at Charity. Here is more in this report.
The body of Kuniza Patricia Ben, 26 years old, of Charity Housing Scheme, was discovered around 600 hours on Tuesday morning by residents in the area. Reports indicate that her face had marks of violence, two deep cuts were on her lip, and her left eye was badly beaten. Currently, her reputed husband and two others are in police custody assisting with investigation. Meanwhile, according to the dead woman's grandmother, Ben was involved in an abusive relationship where her life was often threatened. Additionally, residents living close to the deceased said they would constantly hear shouts among other indications of violence coming from the house. Reporting for the Evening News, Davina Samaru.
Presidential candidate for the Alliance for Change and the Partnership for National Unity Coalition today told the private sector that Guyana is a nation of jaguars led by jackasses, as bombarded the ruling People's Progressive Party's administration for what he called poor decisions made since entering office in 1992. Here is more from Svetlana Marshall.
I do believe that Guyana is a nation of jaguars led by jackasses. I don't wish to be unkind to anyone, but even if you paid attention to the president's remarks, you get the impression that we do have a tremendous amount of resources, but somehow or the other we've managed to make ourselves a land of 1,000 impossibilities.
That was the presidential candidate for the Partnership for National Unity, Alliance for Change, APNU AFC Coalition, David Granger, as he addressed a wide cross-section of businessmen and women during the Guyana Manufacturing and Services Association business luncheon at the Pegasus Hotel today. Granger said in an effort to overcome the scourge of poverty, major emphasis will be placed on repairing the broken education system, noting that an APNU AFC government would invest heavily in five-star universities and not five-star hotels.
On the APNU AFC, every single region will have a regional technical institute and a regional agricultural institute. It is time to move our indigenous citizens and residents of the hinterland and our population as a whole out of poverty and ignorance by building more and more educational institutes, not drop-in centers. So many of our young people start off at the Ondernaming Primary School, they go to the Camp Street Secondary, and end up at the University of Mazaruni.
In answering the cries of the Guyanese people, the presidential candidate pointed out too that the APNU AFC coalition, if elected into office, will take the requisite steps needed to suppress crime in the country. He explained that major investment will be made into the Guyana police force to address the many deficiencies within the system.
The police force is critical to public security. And to secure our borders, over 2,500 kilometers of borders, we need to provide the police with adequate assets. The police have to be given aircraft. And the police have to be given maritime craft in order to secure our borders, to prevent
Political stability, the effective use of Ghana's renewable energy, corruption, unemployment, and underemployment were among other areas addressed by the presidential candidate during his presentation. The business forum was attended by key officials within the private sector, including GMSA President Clinton Williams, Chairman of the Private Sector Commission Ramesh Prasad, and PSC Executive Ramesh Duku, among others. It was also attended by the Canadian High Commissioner to Guyana, Dr. Nicole Giles, and AFC leader Kimraj Ramjatan. It is expected that government would respond to Granger's personal attacks on those who sit at the helm of all arms of the state as far as policy development, formulation, and implementation are concerned. Svetlana Marshall reporting for the Evening News.
Meanwhile, since the signing of the Cummingsburg Accord on February 14, which effectively brought the Partnership for National Unity and the Alliance for Change together, the parties have failed to formalize a single policy to present to the Guyanese people. Here is more from Svetlana Marshall.
Though he was invited to speak in the capacity of presidential candidate for the Partnership for National Unity, Alliance for Change, APNU-AFC coalition at the GMSA business luncheon, David Granger was unable to represent the views of AFC. Approached by the press for clarity, Granger explained that the parties have not yet merged their policies. Hence, at this time, there is no concrete plan to present to the nation. However, he promised that it will come on stream shortly.
Well, I expect within another 3 weeks or so. The teams are working on it. The APNU and AFC have teams working on merging the two plans into a common action plan, I think.
Svetlana Marshall reporting for the Evening News.
A man nicknamed Gully Ross was shot and injured during an armed confrontation with police on Hatfield Street, Georgetown, earlier Tuesday morning. In a release, police said that at 1:30, vendor Walter Drakes, aged 46, of Smythe Street, Georgetown, was riding a bicycle along Crowell Street when he was held up by a man armed with 2 cutlasses. The perpetrator took away a bag containing confectionery and escaped. Quick response by the police on receipt of the report led to the arrest of the suspect at Hatfield Street and the discovery of the stolen articles. During efforts to arrest him, the suspect attacked the police officers with the cutlasses and was shot to his legs. He was given the name as Gully Ross and is under guard at the Georgetown Public Hospital, where he was admitted for medical attention. Stay with us. You're watching the Evening News. Welcome back. You're watching the Evening News. Faisal Mohammed, a well-known conman of 236 Albert Street, was today sentenced to 18 months imprisonment at the Georgetown Magistrates Courts for robbing Rajesh Jaiharan of a Samsung Galaxy S4 cell phone and $100,000. 48-year-old Mohan was found guilty by Magistrate Fabio Azor after a trial proved that the accused did indeed rob Jaiharan at Orange Walk at gunpoint. However, the firearm was never recovered. Mohammed was in court only last week for conning 2 drivers who had driven him across town and he had refused to pay. The convict currently still has a matter ongoing in Court 11 on an assault charge. 2 weeks into the first crop of the year, rice farmers have already begun fuming over the reduced prices they are receiving for paddy. Here is more from Alexis Rodney.
While some farmers are concerned that the price has dropped significantly, there are others who are disappointed that they have not yet been given a direct price for the paddy, although they have already begun harvesting. Rice farmers in regions 3, 5, and 6, speaking to the Evening News today, said that they are peeved over a situation that shows no sign of improvement. According to them, the prices set by millers have dropped significantly from last year. And while the export target for 2015 stands at some 521,000 tons, and while the Agriculture Ministry continues to sing praises over the success of the rice industry, the farmers complain that they are the ones suffering the most. A few millers speaking with the Evening News today said they have all set their prices based on the price set by the world market. However, head of the Guyana Rice Development Board, Jagnarine Singh, told this newscast that the board has already had several meetings with millers, particularly those that are supplying rice to the Venezuelan market. He said the GRDB has also already indicated to the millers the price rice farmers should be paid for their paddies. He said if they do fail to comply with the set rules, then they could be at risk of losing out in the Venezuelan market. For the Evening News, Alexis Rodney.
Women's involvement in politics has throughout the years been a pressing issue worldwide as it is being addressed at home. The details in this report.
It is widely recognized that some of the obstacles to women's full participation in public life varies from cultural and social issues, traditional political structures, access to resources, discriminatory legislation, educational and economic barriers, and gender-based violence. All of those issues were explored during a televised forum where leading female politicians in Guyana recognized Guyanese women's involvement in the political atmosphere. It was recognized that while other countries in the world are struggling to empower women to vote, Guyana has come a long way in that regard. Education Minister Priya Manikchand disclosed that even though statistics are unavailable, it can be observed that Guyanese women are actively involved in politics.
I'm not sure that in Guyana we have a problem where women participate in the electoral process as far as voting goes. Less. That is a problem in other parts of the world, and we should not import it into Guyana, but it's not a problem for us as far as I know.
Similarly, Presidential Advisor Gail Teixeira noted that women are involved in all aspects of the electoral process.
Women in Guyana historically, right across this country, have played a very active role in elections throughout the decades. And so women, you not only, as Priya said, at the rallies, but at the polling agents, the scrutineers, the persons who are involved in every facet of election preparation for our political parties. If it weren't for the women in our parties, I think that we would be not as strong as we are, whether we disagree ideologically or politically with each other.
Alliance for Change executive member Kathy Hughes also recognized the increase of women's involvement. However, she said more women need to participate in the decision-making process in order to effect the change they want to see.
Unless you exercise that right, which gives you an opportunity to have a say in a specific political party that's going to bring policies, unless you get involved at a community level in the decision-making process, unless women across the board in Guyana, for example, start to increase their representation on state boards, in all kinds of organizations. If we don't do that, then we can't really shape where we want this country to go.
In her part, APNU executive member Valda Lawrence took the opportunity to highlight the changes women can make once they hold key positions in the decision-making process.
We want to ensure that we have the necessary care facilities available to us. We want to ensure that our offspring can grow up in a society where they're free from fear, where they feel secure in the environment, and also whereby they can be given equal pay for equal work. It has been too long in our country, Guyana, that despite all the strides we have made as women, that we still have women who are not being paid equally.
Consequently, all women across the country were encouraged not to waste their opportunity to vote. Reporting for the Evening News, Davina Samaru.
Police are urging vehicle owners with extra bright headlights to dip same when approaching oncoming traffic on the roadways. In a statement, police said there are motorists driving motor vehicles that carry what can be considered extra bright white headlights, which negatively affect the vision of oncoming motorists, as frequently the drivers of such vehicles do not dip their headlights. The Guyana Police Force Traffic Department is urging motorists driving such vehicles to extend the courtesy of dipping the lights in order to assist other motorists and to avoid a possible accident. As the police force continues with its traffic enforcement, as of Monday, there has been a total of 21 road fatalities compared to 25 for the corresponding corresponding period last year. During the period of March 9 to 14 for 2015, a number of cases have been made against motorists for breaching the traffic laws. These include speeding for 628, driving under the influence 50, breach of condition of road service license 60, careless driving 15, dangerous driving 7, failing to wear safety helmet 15, failing to wear safety belt 45, prohibition of the use of handheld mobile phones 20, and 25 persons were charged for soliciting passengers. Canadian Oil and Gas Exploration Company CGX Inc. has announced the issuance of the final common shares to the Marine Seismic Service Company Prospector Pte. Limited. Here is more from Alexis Rodney.
The new development will give the Singapore Corporation some 15,535 common shares, or approximately 16.6% of the issued and outstanding common shares. CGX had back in September 2014 entered into a seismic contract with Prospector Pte. Limited to conduct a 3,116.7 kilometers 3D seismic survey on the Guyana's 100% owned Demerara block offshore Guyana. According to CGX's General Counsel and Secretary Michael Gallego, the contract terms represented one of the most extensive 3D seismic studies that have ever been conducted in that area. He said the issuance of the remaining 6,255 common shares in the capital of the company's shares to Prospector Pte. Limited was pursuant to the terms of the binding proposal previously announced in September of last year. According to the company, the aggregate cost of the seismic survey is approximately US $17.9 million, with 40% of the cost, or some US $7 million, to be paid to Prospector by way of issuance of the 15,535 common shares in the capital of CGX Energy. The remainder will be paid in cash some 12 months after the conclusion of the survey. CGX's Chief Executive Officer Dewey Jones said his company was pleased to have Prospector as a significant equity partner in the company. He said the transaction offers the company the opportunity to engage a world-class geophysical service firm while also persevering cash in the short term. CGX Energy is a Canadian-based oil and gas exploration company focused on the exploration of oil in the Guyana-Suriname Basin. For the Evening News, Alexis Rodney.
Stay with us, more news on the other side of the break. Thanks for staying with us. You're watching the Evening News. 60-year-old Tarawati Roni, aka Data of Pomona Housing Scheme in Region 2, Pomeroon, Supernam, continues to battle for her life at the Georgian Public Hospital after receiving third-degree burns. Her condition has worsened over the past few days after being burnt by a man who claims to be sharing a close relationship with her. Alan Alikok, aka Bali of Pomona Housing Scheme, has been arrested, charged and remanded in connection with the matter. The incident occurred on March 8 at her residence in Pomona. She was rescued by neighbors and taken to the Suddy Public Hospital. Doctors at Suddy Public Hospital later transferred her to the Georgian Public Hospital due to the severity of her injuries. The Ghana Elections Commission Chairman Dr. Steve Serge-Bali said that the Media Monitoring Unit has launched its investigation into claims that the Kaiser News and DTV Channel 8 violated the Racial Hostility Act. Here is more in this report.
The chairman stated that the MMU has been consistently recording data about similar infringements and will subsequently be conducting investigations into the incidents. The People's Progressive Party Civic Executive Secretary Zulfikar Mustafa recently informed the MMU about 2 instances where the media, particularly the Kaiser News and the DTV Channel 8, blatantly violated the Racial Hostility Act. When questioned about the consequences those media entities can face as a result of their actions, Serge-Bali expressed his preference not to speculate on the topic. Instead, he affirmed that once it is found that the Racial Hostility Act was violated, then the law should take precedence. The Racial Hostility Act states that any person guilty of an offense shall be liable on summary conviction to a fine of $65,000 and to imprisonment for 2 years. Reporting for the Evening News, Davina Samaru.
Reports indicate that Secretary of the University of Ghana's Student Society, Shamina Ken, has resigned from the student body. Details surrounding the reasons for her resignation are unclear at the moment. Her resignation was tendered a few weeks ago. It also remains unclear whether Ms. Ken's sudden departure might affect the business of the society. Meanwhile, in November, the Faculty of Technology representative on the UGSS Council, Priscilla Moore, tendered her resignation as well. Sources close to the UGSS at that time said that Moore had expressed her academic schedule as the technology student in the engineering field was too busy to have extracurricular activities. However, others had different opinions. UGSS is made up of 3 student representatives from the 6 faculties and 1 school, which brings the quota to 21. Opposition leader David Granger is maintaining that meaningful consultations were not held with him on the recent confirmation of Police Commissioner Sial Prasad. The details from Vanu Manikchand.
Days after opposition leader David Granger said he will be taking legal action to challenge the confirmation of top cop Sial Prasad, no such proceeding has been filed. Granger told media operatives last Friday that he will not accept or recognize Prasad as the substantive police commissioner since he was not properly consulted on the appointment in accordance with Article 211 under the Constitution of Guyana. While no steps have been taken by the party as yet to challenge Prasad's confirmation, Granger has maintained that no meaningful consultations were held with him, despite claims of otherwise by government.
I did not attend any meaningful consultation within the meaning of Article 211 of the Constitution of Ghana. I have not stepped into the office of the President, and I was not consulted.
Meanwhile, asked if he feels Prasad is suitably qualified for the role of police commissioner, the opposition leader pointed out that he will not assess him.
I wrote Mr. Prasad asking him to explain on what grounds 2 subordinate officers were advanced in rank. I was not satisfied with the response he gave me, and I've written the chairman of the Police Service Commission, and I have not received an answer from him. So I'm not judging Mr. Prasad. I'm waiting for a proper answer as to why 2 subordinate officers were advanced to higher rank.
Mr. Granger, do you think there's anything sinister about this appointment, taking into consideration all of this?
Sinister? I can't speak about whether it's sinister or not. What I can say, it is not constitutional.
After acting in the position following the retirement of former top cop Leroy Bramell, Prasad was confirmed as substantive police commissioner last Tuesday. He has been serving the Guyana Police Force for the past 31 years and has about 3 more years under his belt before his time for retirement step in. Reporting for the Evening News, Vanu Manikchand.
Despite the challenges being faced by the significant drop in gold prices on the world market for the past year, President of the Ghana Gold and Diamond Miners Association, Patrick Harding, believes that the industry is still viable and will recover. In recent months, the price for gold on the international market has not been as encouraging as the players in the industry would like it to be. In the past week, gold was traded at a price of $1,150 per ounce, compared to $1,800 in mid-2011, figures which represent a slump of approximately 30%. The present reported gold price has been so far for the past 3 months. Reflecting on the performance of the industry in 2013 specifically, Harding related to this newscast that even though there were several highs and lows for that year, 2013 was a year which proved to be one of the highest gold declaration figures. Stay with us, your regional and international news are next. Welcome back to the Evening News, and here's what's happening in the region. The Antigua and Barbuda government says it will resist efforts to shift the base of the financially strapped regional airline Iliad to Barbados. Prime Minister Gaston Brown, appearing on an inaugural edition of Observer PM on Monday evening, told radio listeners that while he is aware that St. John's does not have the shareholder capacity to have the airline maintain its base there, it is still engaged in a fight to have it remain there. And internationally, neither Israel's governing Likud party nor the opposition Zionist Union has a clear lead in Israel's general election, exit polls suggest. Exit polls by two Israeli broadcasters gave both sides 27 seats each in the 120-seat parliament, the Knesset. Both sides would need support from the other parties in order to form a coalition government. More than 65% of those eligible voted in the election, which ended at 22 hours local time or 20 hours GMT time. Final results are not expected until Wednesday morning. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu could become Israel's longest-serving leader if he secures a fourth term. Here now are your bridge reports. The Demerara Harbour Bridge is expected to be closed at 14 hours 30 on Wednesday, March 18 for a period of 1.5 hours. And the Berbice River Bridge is expected to be closed at 14 hours 5 on Wednesday, March 18 for a period of 1.5 hours. Stay with us. Sport is next.
Every day presents a few more challenges. Keeping your business running shouldn't be one of them. That's why we work every day towards ensuring your overall satisfaction. With over 100 skilled technicians and engineers equipped with the tools and skills to help you do more. With the largest parts inventory in Guyana, over 10,000 line items readily available. Driven by your success is not just a set of words to us. It is a code by which we live. That is why we are proud to say that we are Bridge.
Welcome back, and now for a look at your sport headlines. Shiv Chandrapal inches closer to first-class landmark. Guinness Greatest in the Streets heads to the East Coast. Slingers FC receive big boost from Bakewell. Veteran West Indies left-hander Shiv Chandrapal inches closer to yet another landmark in his illustrious career as leaders of the Ghana Jaguars and the Trinidad and Tobago Red Force play to a tame draw in her 9th round match in the West Indies Cricket Board's Professional Cricket League 4-day tournament at the Ghana National Stadium on Monday. Chandrapal stroked an unbeaten 69 in the Jaguars' second innings and moved to within sight of 25,000 first-class runs with just 38 required to reach the landmark. Meanwhile, based on the points standing, the Jaguars will be crowned the new regional first-class champions at the end of the tournament. It will be their first title since 1998. Set 218 for victory in just over a session, the Red Force were 99 for 3 before both of the captains decided to call off play within the final hour. Scores in the match: Ghana Jaguars 291 and 266 for 5. Trinidad and Tobago Red Force 340 and 99 for 3. The final round of the tournament bowls off on Friday. Banks DIH on Monday, under its Guinness brand, was proud to launch its third edition of the Guinness Greatest in the Streets East Coast leg at Thirst Park. Here's more from Tristan Joseph.
At the press conference, brand manager of Guinness, Lee Baptiste, was pleased to be on board with the tournament once again.
This submeet intends to carry on the same high expectation and performance as we witnessed in the West Coast Guinness Greatest of the Streets tournament. And we want to assure all concerned that Guinness Street Football is here to stay.
Meanwhile, the Petra organization that runs the operations of the tournament through one of its directors, in Troy Mendonça, noted the benefits of the tournament as organizers.
Our pleasure comes about from the support and the magnitude of the support as demonstrated by the patrons and the exuberance shown by the players on the field of play. It allows us, through the Guinness brand, to have within the communities some level of camaraderie within the communities, and the same camaraderie among the communities, playing sport in a friendly manner. That in itself is very pleasing for us.
The tournament will start on Wednesday with 16 teams being divided into 4 groups, as the top 2 teams will advance to the quarterfinals after a round-robin stage. The top finisher in the final, which is expected to be played on April 4th, will receive $300,000, while second place will be in receipt of $150,000. Action is set to start each night at 1900 hours at the Haslington Tarmac.
Bakewell Bakers has come out in support of the top football club's Slingers with exclusive sponsorship for the club, starting with the 25th edition of the Kashif and Shanghai tournament. Here is more from Tristan Joseph.
At a simple handing over ceremony on Tuesday in front of Bakewell's main branch on Albert Street, the Top Bakery revealed its exclusive sponsorship of the football club that will now be known as Bakewell Slingers FC. Both parties will be teaming up for an undisclosed amount of time, starting with the Kashif and Shanghai tournament set to begin on Friday. Manager of Bakewell, Rajin Gangus, shared his thoughts about the sponsorship.
Certainly this is a great moment for us to be associated with Slingers for the Kashif and Shanghai 2015 tournament. Indeed, we're looking forward to some continued relationship and great success.
Slingers Public Relations Officer Raul Tony thanked Bakewell on behalf of the football club as they aim to win the Kashif and Shanghai tournament, set to begin on Friday at the Demerara Cricket Club ground.
This segment of sport is sponsored by Macorp.
In 1998, we started training technicians. 16 years on, we have trained 692 operators and technicians. Being an equipment technician and operator, whether day or night, sun or rain, wherever I go, I am driven by your expectations.
I was trained by Macorp, and no matter the task, I am ready.
And that has brought us to the end of the evening news for today, Tuesday, March 17, 2015. Do remember to get a copy of tomorrow's edition of the Ghana Times newspaper with the details of these stories and other news. I'm Petty Santos. Thank you for joining us.